You're watching the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast with Matt and Rich. Welcome back to episode 9 of the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast. On today's episode, we have a little bit lighter in information. We're starting to hit the off season, so not as much information about the Coyotes, but we still have some. In today's episode, we're going to talk about the scathing hit piece that Katie Strang decided to write, putting out information that everybody knew about and then spin doctoring it. And then also we are talking about Dillon Gunther, who is just tearing it up in the WHL playoffs for the Edmonton Oil Kings. So, I'm going to give you the option since you're my co-host here. Which one do you want to start off with?
Let's go with the hit piece. Spicy Dill's always going to be there. So, let's go with the hit piece first. Because I have no problem with some Katie Strang slander.
Yes. Yes. So, Katie Strang and I don't know the other guy's name.
Was it Sean Shapiro?
Shapiro.
Fake news from a Shapiro. I'm kidding.
Sean Shapiro put out a scathing report about how embarrassing the Coyotes are because ASU is just, absolutely lock holding them with a good behavior clause, as they put it, and also not allowing them to alter the ice. This is something.
That's how that works.
This is something that they decided to write, and like any good journalist, you're supposed to find 3 confirming reports of that piece of information, and they did 0.
I just want to put it out there, just to stroke my own ego. Me just paying attention to the different Arizona reporters, as well as just knowing this information about how much we've had to discuss all of this and having a functioning brain. I'm more of a reporter than Katie Strang and Sean Shapiro. I want it out there because you two are garbage journalists, and I have no problem saying that because, wow! All right. First and foremost, I had never heard of a morality clause before, so admittedly to me, it does sound, quite frankly, a little strange. However, as soon as I listened to a single person just put it into perspective as to why these things happen, and on top of that, the fact that it was confirmed by, I think it was Jose Romero as well as Craig Morgan, it's standard operating procedure for ASU, because they just picked up the phone and called and asked, primarily because Craig Morgan was talking about it more on his podcast, where they take money from the state, they have kids there, obviously they're above 18, but still, in 18, 19, 20-year-olds are stupid. I was also one at one point. I'm also still kind of stupid, but...
Yep.
So they have to actually, have a positive image and not just associate with whomever. So a morality clause makes logical sense. And I really hate... I went into it in my own video, shameless plug, where they put that paragraph of, the morality clause, the good behavior clause, because I had to make it sound as bad as possible. And they go about the whole Mitchell Miller thing, and all the Coyotes have been in the headlines for negative reasons, linking, of course, to her own article. The main reason why they're in the headlines for bad reasons is because Katie Strang likes to stretch the truth anyway. But again, we're not talking about ethics here. We're talking about stupidity. And they just put that right there, trying to mislead the audience and make them think that that's the reason why this was just such a necessary clause, and not because that's what the university does standard. And then on top of that, they lead into the logo thing. Before I get into that, I'm going to let you comment on the morality clause, but just what a way to misrepresent, and then everyone just taking it like, oh yeah, the Coyotes are such a dysfunctional organization, they need to be on their best behavior, which, side note, they do need to be on their best behavior, all right, just to give some credit. We're not going to sit there and be that biased here. They do need to act right, but at the same time, that's not the reason why the clause exists.
Yeah, so we've gone into this great detail on the podcast, but to start off with the morality clause, obviously that's going to be put into any agreement when you're doing business with corporations that are millions and millions and millions of dollars, first of all. Secondly, ASU has tried very, very, very hard to change their the persona in like the community and around the nation. They were very well known for being the party school, like, couldn't get into a college in California? Well, just go to ASU and party the whole time and not actually, learn anything there. And they've tried really hard to like get away from that view in the public eye, and like obviously they're going to be putting stuff like this in to make sure that their reputation isn't tarnished. And that's not even like the owner is being real scumbaggy or something like that. No, it's like, hey, the owner wants to do some like party thing, and well, they can be like, okay, no, we don't want that. Like, we're trying to get away from that image. Like, let's not do that. That's what this is. Like, it's to make sure that they can uphold that image and be more respected, because for the longest time they were not. And what was the other thing we were about to go on to?
We're about to talk about the logo, but I guess briefly before we move on from the morality clause, it's literally just there as a standard op to ensure that if the Coyotes... And I brought up some stupid examples, but I'll go ahead and bring it back up here. If the Coyotes decide to partner with a strip club, ASU can be like, what the hell are you doing? Or you're not putting that logo on our ice or in our arena. You're not putting it on your broadcast because we don't want to be associated with that. It's just a basic thing, just to make sure you're upholding a professional relationship. And so that way, if ASU sees, again, they're partnering with a strip club, hey, we don't want to be associated with that, they can back out of the deal. It's standard ops. I think that's one of the main reasons Wells Fargo Arena got renamed, because the Wells Fargo did something that ASU didn't like, and they backed out of their agreement with them.
Yeah, I actually didn't know about that, but that sounds about right with me.
I was hearing it in passing, just for disclosure. I heard that in passing, so asterisk right there.
Yeah. The other thing I was going to say is we've talked about this on the podcast for many, many times. All of you who say that, this team is like a bad apple, you need to seriously stop and think about why their actions were what they did in Glendale. Okay? Stop playing pretend that, the owner doesn't have money, the owner was scumbagging Glendale. No, it was all a calculated plan. Like, even though they want to say, we didn't know, that's just PR talk. Mm-hmm. He clearly was saying, okay, you guys are going to... We sign a 15-year lease with you, and you guys are going to rip it up, most likely potentially illegally, according to Craig Morgan. He talked to a few lawyers, and they had grounds to potentially sue on that. They ripped it up, and then they started giving him a year lease, and as the Coyotes are walking out the door because they're like, what the heck? Then all of a sudden Glendale's like, whoa, why are you walking out? You need to sign another 20-year lease with us. Why the heck would you do that? If they have already proven that they're willing to go to potentially illegal extent to rip up a contract with you, these are people that you don't want to do business with. So yeah, of course they're going to be mad and potentially not want to pay them, because when you do illegal things, you only get rebounded with repercussions that are negative. And like, let's use our thinking brain here. That's why a lot of the negativity with what happened in Glendale was, why it's talked about today. Like, it was all the Coyotes' fault. No, it was repercussions of what Glendale did. And let me be very clear. I still disagree with it. I don't think it was a smart move. Now, hopefully, let's take them at their word and say, like, okay, they legitimately did mess up. But I don't think so. I think that it was a calculated move to not pay them so that they would come back and circle back and go, okay, we want our money. Let's get a 3-year lease with you guys so that we can get something out of this. And it was a business like gamble that did not pay off. And unfortunately now because of it, you're seeing people like Katie Strang and all the other Canadians in Canada who are saying, the Coyotes are poor, they couldn't even afford to pay taxes, which is not true. But unfortunately, when you don't take that high road, these are other repercussions that'll come when you start getting nasty and doing battle in the court of public opinion.
I know, and just to kind of essentially add some additional context there. So yeah, the city of Glendale is the one that ripped up that original 15-year lease. But on top of that, the Coyotes not paying, and I take full credit. I don't care. I was one of the first people saying that it had to have been a calculated move because you got to understand corporate politics. Especially with multiple reports coming out, I believe one was a quote from Javier Gutierrez himself. Don't quote me on that. I remember reading a quote, but I don't want to throw it out there if I don't have it in front of me. But talking about, at least in passing, the city of Glendale wanted a 20-year lease, thus backing up the reports I had already heard, where the city of Glendale was trying to strong-arm them, and the Coyotes, we always talk about this, and I'll never understand the hypocrisy here, that the Coyotes need to get out of Glendale. The West Valley is not good for them. They're not going to be able to maintain or make money there. So this team needs to get out of that market so that way they can make money. But then as they're looking to get out of that market, it's like, oh, why don't you just stay in Glendale? That's stupid. If they would have signed a 20-year lease, as much as I love the team, all right, part of me would have been rooting for them to relocate at that point because they're not making a good effort to actually make money. Going to ASU, you might have a counter argument there. I'm talking about hypothetical straw man, not you specifically, where it's like, oh, well, they're not making money here. Less operational costs with the ticket prices being what they are. There's a potential they could turn a profit and revenues go up. Doesn't mean they will, but there's that potential there where it's better than what it was in Glendale because you're selling all your tickets for super cheap and you're only getting, under $12,000 on average per night. So the Coyotes, if they would have signed that lease, would have been stupid. It was a clearly, I still agree it was a poor decision, but it was a calculated move to try to attempt to get Glendale to be, okay, we'll do a 2 to 3, 5-year lease, something like that. Buys them more time. They can go to the Tempe. Everything was all, sunshine and rainbows. But because they, for whatever reason, didn't stop to think, oh, we're messing with the government. I don't mind the meme of, not paying taxes are based. But the problem is when you're a legitimate organization, a legitimate company, pay your damn taxes. Because if you're trying to go into business with another city, you want to have as good a reputation as possible. I also pointed that out in the past. So they kind of shot themselves in the foot there. And right now they're getting into bed with ASU, which is it should smooth everything over and kind of get them on their best behavior and help everything go through. But that's why they had this giant, knockout battle with Glendale was because of all of that. Again, there's my little asterisk for the allegedly, but there's more than enough reports that confirm the exact same information. The Glendale wanted a 20-year lease. That would have been dumb. That would have been stupid.
Yep.
And also, it was a little iffy when Chico was here. There was a bit of allegedly toxic work environment. There is some accurate reporting there. However, it was basically an entire new regime. And on top of that, I'm not allowed to say it on air, but some of the things I heard about the previous goings-on with the previous owner, I'm going to just also keep it at that. Yeah, no, it doesn't surprise me that there would have been some toxicity behind the scenes. Luckily, that's been flushed.
Yep. Yeah, that's another thing about the Strang article is she talked, not this one, but another one, is she was talking about the toxic workplace of the Coyotes. And by all counts that I've seen from people on the ground, people who actually personally work in that front office, it's a lot better now. The Katie Strang article was written right in that transitional period between Chika and Bill Armstrong. And like a lot of the reporting of the toxicity of the work environment was under the Chika administration. And then she also continued to interweave them and also talk about like the toxicity of the owner and like, oh, he requires you to call him Mr. Marullo and not Alex. He demands that. And it's like, one, he's the businessman. Like, if he wants to be called Mr. Marullo instead of his first name, I think he has the right to make that request, first of all. I don't know why that's a hit piece. Secondly, when you start interweaving these two different offices, like you're kind of operating on bad faith. And we've seen this before with Katie. Like, she obviously operates on bad faith, or else she would have called ASU and seen, oh, they can put their logo? Okay, I'll cut that one out.
One call. It would have taken one call. And I'm going to stick on the behavior clause for this one more second. One call, and you would assume that a journalist would be more privy to this being a standard thing than jackass on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You would assume. I had to throw that in there. I apologize for cutting you off. A journalist, a real actual journalist that went to a real actual journalism school and really actually graduated with a real actual job, couldn't pick up the phone because, again, it's either blatant misrepresentation, which is unethical, or it's incompetence, which is kind of unethical, more so just baffling.
Oh, well, it's the third option, which is intentionally bad faith in order to get clicks, because that's what she wanted. She wanted sensationalism because we all know that The Athletic is struggling, so whatever will get those people to pay for 99 cents for the month to go read this scathing report, that's all she wants. And it's sad. It really is sad to see somebody who stoops that low. It's like you're no better than E! News. You really are. You're no better. The last thing I was going to say is if you... Sorry.
Sorry
about that.
Cover the airway there for a second. I don't know why I just paused and froze there.
Sorry, my nose was clogging up. The allergies have been terrible for me. I don't know why.
Arizona.
If you are curious, if you're curious, you're listening, and you want to know more about what the bad workplace was in the Chika administration, I highly, 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 highly recommend that you go watch 99.9 The Howl is his YouTube channel, or 99.6. I can never remember.
I think it's 99.6.
Okay, 99.6 The Howl. Go watch his YouTube channel. If you go down his videos, he has where he reads a Reddit post of somebody who actually worked for the Chika administration, and he also was talking about, apparently this was also confirmed by an admin of the Coyotes Reddit, saying, yeah, he did work here. Go listen to that, because that'll show you how toxic the Chika administration was, and that's probably where Katie got that information from. The previous hit piece was under that administration, but she clumped it all together so that she could write this hit piece and not actually, talk about the new leadership there and the new general manager, which by all counts.
Sorry, just to throw some disclosure in there. Here's an asterisk. Also allegedly on this Reddit post, there's more backing up that person did work for the Coyotes than there was when I read the Katie Strang article, the one anonymous former employee that she was quoting. But just so that way we're at least having some sort of integrity here, a small asterisk there. Still allegedly, even though there's more evidence suggesting it's true.
Yeah. Anyways, let's hop into the second half of this article, which is apparently the Coyotes are just going to have no branding at all in the arena, because that makes sense. Oh, we're gifting you a $25 million annex that we're not going to take with us when we leave. Yeah, you're not allowed to put the logo there, ASU. Like, you're not allowed to put our logo there. Like, what?
I feel like just wording it like that makes it sound like they're gonna be like mobile homes, like their trailers. Like, I feel like that's what that made me. It sounded like to me. But before we get into the logo, I had to throw this out here because I also thought this was funny. They were complaining about like the Coyotes with allegedly, and again, this is just off memory from the article how it was worded. So there's another asterisk for disclosure, talking about alcohol and how they might not be able to sell alcohol, or they have to get permission or something like that. They're going to get permission, likely, and they'll be fine to sell alcohol to the 21, 22, 23-year-old kids that go there that are going to be getting cheap tickets because the student section still exists. Another thing, people keep bringing up, they're not selling an entire part of the arena. That's a student section. They already said they're keeping it there. You cannot buy a season ticket for a student section because it's for the kids that go to ASU. And then they're also talking about branding. Obviously, the naming rights go to ASU. Makes sense. I'm not going to complain about that whatsoever. Talking about branding and whatnot, and how it's primarily whatever ASU does to the ice, that's what stays on there. They will, to my knowledge, how the contract is worded, one more asterisk there, they should be allowed to put some digital advertisements on blank parts of the ice. I know they're going to be doing some temporary adverts. I wasn't sure if that was ripping out that section of the ice, putting the logo down, and then ripping it back out. That kind of sounds stupid to me, but that might be how they're doing it, or with digital ads. But they really kept harping in on they can't alter the ice surface, and they can, including that ASU logo at center ice. First and foremost, Richard, just go with me on this. Did you expect ASU in their first year in their new building to not have their logo at center ice?
I'm going to say no. No,
Okay.
I don't think that ASU's multi-purpose arena wasn't going to have ASU's logo in it. No.
All right. So, did you think ASU would also not have their own advertising with their own partners that they would probably not want the Coyotes to alter? For example, they mentioned how the Coyotes can't advertise like competing products. My example was if ASU's partner with Napa, they can't bring in O'Reilly's for the Coyotes, something like that.
Yeah.
Does that sound unreasonable or unexpected to you?
I'm thinking about this in the way that a kindergartner would so that I can get on Katie's level. Well, I do like Coke, but Pepsi's giving the money. Man. Oh, wait, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. Yes, it does, Matt. That makes total sense. Why competing branding shouldn't be on the same boards?
Now, I think this might be my last one. So, would you expect the ASU would agree to this arrangement with the Coyotes and not allow any sort of Coyotes branding on the ice? Like, would you expect them to say, you're going to come into our building and you're not allowed to be represented on the ice in any context?
I would have never guessed that in a million years. That makes literally no sense. Why would anybody think this? I could understand it with like the building itself. So maybe you're walking around, sometimes there's big columns or walls with like players and stuff like that. I'd understand the Coyotes not being on that stuff because it's an ASU arena. Like you put, I mean, shoot, you can put Josh Doan on all this stuff and it's a
91 everywhere.
Yeah,
Just
it's a two-pronged attack there, So yeah, like I understood in like the hallways and stuff like that and a lot of branding that you look around and see, okay, this is all ASU stuff. But like obviously they were going to do something with the Coyotes and put them in the center ice. Like obviously.
All right, so we got all those questions out of the way. Again, I apologize to the Coyotes fans that do have some active brain cells functioning at an adult level. We had to do that for everyone else because this was picked up allegedly. I didn't see the article by USA Today, but I heard they picked it up allegedly by them, definitely by TSN, by Sportsnet, a handful of podcasts associated with all of that. Where the quote, I'm just going to paraphrase it, was the Coyotes are not allowed to alter the playing surface, including ASU's logo at center ice. Now, I don't know if you used to play the old NHL games, but I know also in the past they'd have, like, in NHL arenas, two separate logos, like, on either side of center ice. I never understood it, but I think the Coyotes at one point had the peyote head on both sides. Back in my mind, I'm thinking it's either going to be that's how it's going to be, Coyotes one side, ASU on the other. I kind of like some of the cool mashups where it's like half a Sparky on one side, half of the Kachina, but they've basically retired the Sparky logo. Can't retire the bobblehead that I just got from an antique shop. But I either expected that, or for some reason, they would, like, that big fork at center ice, and then the Coyotes branding would be, like, around it. So it's like, you could say Arizona Coyotes or have, like, a Kachina, or maybe even where the four normal, like, advertiser spots would be, the Coyotes would pay to have, like, their different alternate logos or whatever there. Something like that's what I initially thought. That's what's going through my mind. Never once did I assume they were not going to have their logo in any context on center ice, in the neutral zone, anywhere on the ice. I never thought that for a second. So does the sentiment or the statement that the Coyotes are not allowed to alter the ice surface communicate to you that they will not be represented in any context?
No, when I read that, I assume that means that they can't rip it up and put their own advertisements in, or they can't, maybe the rules are different for, like, between college and the NHL, which I don't think they are. But, like, let's say the blue line's, like, 10 feet the other way or something, right? Like, they can't do something like that to alter the ice surface. That's what I hear when I read something like that. Hold on. I just had like a brain blast when you were talking. How cool would it be? Do you remember like when they did like the Hockeyville stuff and they do like the Winter Classics and stuff like that, and they have like a big the full circle at center ice is like really big and just like there's tons of artwork and stuff like that in it, and it's like really well done. What if they did that? Like, how cool would that be? Like, you have like I don't know, maybe you have like you said that they can't do Sparky, so maybe they have like the pitchfork, and then they have like peyote design all around it or something. Like how cool would that be?
Dude, just imagine like I've always loved that they call it the peyote jersey. I don't know why people dubbed it that, but like the valley behind it with the cacti and the desert moon and everything. That, but then with like the pitchfork and that would be phenomenal. Or even just like coloring it in. Yeah, no, that would all look really nice.
I wonder how it would look. I would need to see mock-ups, but what if the circle was the moon, and then you had like the fork somewhere inside that? That would be kind of interesting too.
But it's like you color in the color of the moon, and then the fork is still just as prevalent at center ice, but just surrounding it is just the colors. Again, all these would be really cool. My personal favorite is still the Sparky and Kachina back-to-back. They're not going to do that. I have no idea why they keep trying to... Well, they have. They've basically retired the Sparky logo. I don't get it, but whatever. So anyway, we are just two jackasses on YouTube that just asked these basic questions and came to very logical conclusions. Yeah. Apparently, everybody else took that information and was like, they can't have their logo. To the point where this got picked up universally, and despite the fact Craig Morgan immediately, debunked it, which he's done phenomenal reporting here. I've historically not been a fan of Craig Morgan. I owe you a sincere apology. You've done phenomenal work here, having to combat all this stupidity. But it took 3 days for them to finally, two or 3 days for them to finally actually have wide scale corrections, and then it was still the tone, not the exact wording, the tone was pretty much, well, they can have their logo, but they're still a poverty franchise. They're still playing in a college arena. So just...
Well, look at those ticket prices.
I've set the stage. Richie, take it away. I think I've given you everything you need.
Okay, so first thing I'm going to say is, please, for the love of God, ASU and Coyotes, don't do something boring at center ice. I've seen the mock-ups of the old, I think it was the Quebec Nordiques and maybe their QMJHL team, or I don't know. But they had 4 logos, and it was diagonal, and it was just 4 little mini logos. Please don't do that. That sounds so boring. Let's do something fun for this. Let's do something creative, something very artistic, and just make just blow it out of the water so that you make everybody jealous that you're playing at a college arena where you're going to have kids standing and cheering and making the environment something incredible. Let's do that, first of all. Secondly, I'm drawing a blank of what my next point was going to be. Oh, goodness.
Are you Katie Strang right now? Just
I
make something
am.
up. Just make something up.
My watch says noon. But Katie, you're not wearing a watch. Sorry. Okay, so the other thing I was going to talk about was I guess we can get into ticket prices real quick, because that was the other argument that people lose their minds over. They're
not probably coming down. I'm going to say it right now. They will probably, if the tickets do not sell, they'll probably come down, because there is a 0% chance they will be willing to have empty seats at that arena. If there's a couple, it is what it is. It's natural. People show up late. They don't show up. They still bought the tickets. They will not allow half of that building to be, even if they have to give away tickets, which I don't see them doing. But they will eventually come down. This is literally a standard thing. You set it high and see what the market responds at. They will probably come down.
Yeah. The tickets you're not paying for. So why are you telling me what I can and can't pay, Canada? Go screw yourself. That's the other thing too, is they're oh my God, look, these Coyotes fans are getting fleeced. I already am locked in for 3 tickets, so screw off. How about that? I get that some people won't have the money to get get to go as often, and that sucks. That really does suck. I hate to see that. I hate to see season ticket holders that have been season ticket holders for, a decade, and they traditionally sit in the upper bowl and they don't have the funds to afford the tickets this year. That really sucks, and I really hate to see that. But at the same time, why are you telling me how I should spend my money? I want to support the team. I want to go out. I don't care if they're going to suck next year and I'm paying as much as everybody else is in the hockey universe. By the way, let's make sure we throw that one out there. The prices aren't just like inflated past everything else. They are like standard operating, just maybe slightly above what everybody else pays for lower bowl tickets in the NHL. So let's talk about that one real quick. Yeah, don't tell me how to spend my money. If I want to go support the team, I'm going to go do that. Sorry. I'm already saving, like, especially in today's economy, if you're driving, like, I'm already saving a bunch of money by not driving out to Glendale and driving to the ASU Arena, which is, like, less than 10 minutes away from my dad's house. So, I don't know what to tell you.
And on top of that, there is still the option for people like me that would prefer to just watch the game at home, so we don't have to put pants on. And also, you can still, if you can't afford to go to games, but you still want to support the team, you can still like buy a jersey or something. It's not like they're telling you we don't want your money at all. What they're saying is we have to find a way to start earning revenue. Because allegedly one of the reasons that the Coyotes weren't turning a profit when they first came here, like to America West, was because the sight lines would cause tickets to be worth less, and they would sell them for as low as like $10. $10 was still a pretty good amount in today's money because our money's trash now. But still, you can't turn a profit if even what was that? I think it was roughly a quarter of all the seats had terrible sight lines. I had to put a second scoreboard in so you could watch it. So you're not going to turn a profit that way. And then, of course, being far away from the market where the money is and the interest primarily is, it's also not a good idea. So there's still going to be ways to watch the games if you can't afford it. There's still going to be ways if you want to support the team that you get something else out of it. Like me, the main reason I have no problem blowing $200 on a jersey. Okay, I do have a problem actually, but the main reason I don't mind spending money on jerseys is because I'm getting something. Like I have something that I could take home, I can keep, whatever, and then I'll go to Coyotes games when I can afford them, when the tickets are cheaper, when someone hooks me up, because I'm like, that's an event, but I personally value an event less than I value like something I can keep. So it's like no matter what, like you could still like it doesn't mean that the team doesn't want you. It just means that right now they have to find a way to turn a profit. Let the snowbirds just cover the brunt of what's going on. Just let it happen.
Yeah, and just remember, this is an NHL product. You're still going to watch an NHL product. This isn't a college game. That's the reason why these prices are the way they are. I got to witness Trevor Zegras pull off of Michigan on my own team. You think I was mad about that? No. Ask anybody that was sitting next to me. I went, holy crap, he actually did it. He actually did it. Just like how I got to sit there and watch Ovi on his head score a goal 20 years ago. I got to watch that live. That was worth every damn penny. That's an experience that I'll never forget. You and I got to go witness Nick Schmaltz last year put up 7 points, tying the points, points in the game.
I think he broke it for the Coyotes. Yeah, he
broke it
for the Coyotes.
Yeah, this is an experience that I'll never forget. Yeah, sorry. Like, I'm going to go pay to watch that and have fun. Go see the kids play. Go watch Keller perform. That's why I'm going. Like, let me spend my money the way I want to spend it. It's all my rant.
The problem is these people just want a reason to complain, which is also why, and I've been saying this over and over again, and I hope to God Richie actually clips this. Coyotes fans everywhere, all right? I'm talking directly to you. Stop debating these weirdos. Stop giving them the time of day. Get your favorite memes out and just post that as a reply. If someone is saying something stupid, my new favorite reply, just respond with LOL. It angers these people because they're so fragile. They are so ridiculously fragile because it's like, oh, this team doesn't belong to be here. This team shouldn't be here, yada, yada, whatever. because they're living in Quebec City and they want the Nordiques back, or they're living in Houston and want a team, or this one hurts me. I actually do. I want the Whalers back. They're living in Hartford and want the Whalers back. They're living X, Y, Z, or they're a Canadian market that hates the fact that the Sun Belts are growing the game. We were talking about it before. I'm not going to do a huge tangent. I'll just keep it very brief. All right. That's how you grow the game. You put it into markets it's not traditional in. Obviously, you don't. I can see the counter arguments where it's like, oh, the Coyotes haven't turned a profit, but the reason that they want to keep them here is because they know the market can. They just need a good building, good ownership, and a good product, and they've never had all three at the same time. The owners are all business-minded people. There's a reason why they're okay. Well, they will, grit their teeth and accept the losses that they've had because they know what the market can be. On top of that, it's not going to cost the league anymore next year. Because they're already taking the maximum amount allowable in revenue sharing. It's literally not going to affect, and if the revenues do go up, they might even get to take less. It's a necessary step, and they'll be fine if they can get that Tempe Arena built.
Yeah. The owner also has sports betting here in Arizona. That's massive. We've talked about it for decades, about when are we going to see little computers on the front of your seat that you're going to be able to go, Clayton Keller's hot. I think he's going to score next period, and then just be able to swipe and live bet. We're probably going to see that. Coyotes are probably going to be the first iteration of that, if I had to guess. That's
not
why
at ASU,
there's
though. It'll be
no, not at ASU.
Because ASU doesn't want that.
When Tempe gets built, I think that they will be the first test subjects for that. We do already have betting. I think it was the Islanders have betting locations, but they're just straight up locations.
The Footprint Center actually has this FanDuel built into it that you can go. Every time I go to the Rattlers games and occasional Mercury games, I'll see it there, and I'm like, I had the FanDuel app, so I wouldn't go in there, but we're not sponsored, by the way. That's just a fact of stating. We're not sponsored.
Not a sponsor, but can be. I was gonna say something and I forgot. My brain. No.
Well, one of the big reasons why you're thinking about that people think Marullo really wanted the team. I think he owns a couple of casinos in Vegas, is because there's a huge market that he can tap into, a lot of revenue. Why do you think a lot of places are legalizing sports betting? Because there's so much money to be made, and a man like that if you're gonna run anything in Vegas and even have a little slot machine in the corner or something like that, you know how much money can be made. All right, I think I'm still technically positive because I shouldn't be legally allowed to bet on Arizona sports games. I know this market way too well, but I'll make stupid little bets with free bets or whatever. So it's again, it's not a sponsorship. I'm just explaining something.
It can be.
So it's if they know how much money it could generate, because if someone's really into it or whatever, it makes money. They know that. Why do you think when these apps were first launching, everyone that placed a bet with a new account got 100 or 150 in free bets? You don't just give that. Obviously, it's not real money, but you don't just give that money-making potential to potentially millions of people unless you know we're going to make a profit. You don't do that.
The house always wins, as the saying goes. I actually had I brought it back in my brain. And then I just lost it. Did I really just lose it?
I said sports betting with Alex Marullo, and you lit up, if that helps you.
Sports betting. Oh my God, how did I lose it again?
Do I talk too much? I know my wife says I talk all the time.
The ADHD just kicked in, and I just started listening to you again and lost it.
I don't know what HD is. I got 80 of them.
Oh my God. What was okay, sports betting. Oh, okay. I remember. Okay. Hey Canada. You listening? I know the Coyotes don't make a profit, but where do your contracts go to die? Oh, is it Arizona? Oh. They're taking on some of your bad contracts, intentionally inflating your cap or deflating your cap so you can bring in more players? What? There's value to that? Wait a second. they only pay 10% of the contract because it's insured? What? How does that work? Yeah,
All right, I got it.
I'll let you guys in on a little secret. They may not turn a profit, which is true. That's true. It's a fair argument. Mm-hmm. They also take on your bad contracts so that you can be more competitive. Notice how this works. When the bottom feeder team that doesn't make profits is also bringing in bad contracts off of your team so that you can be better, what do you think that does for the game? Do you think that Brian Little coming over to Arizona for the Winnipeg Jets, what do you think that does for the Winnipeg Jets? Do you think that makes them more competitive or less competitive? Do you really think that the cap going up $1.1 million because the Coyotes turned a profit this year is more important than them just sucking in all the bad contracts that you yourself signed? Now, granted, Brian Little was a little bit of a different situation. That wasn't just like, he got back.
That was an injury on a really good player. Yeah,
that was an injury on a really, really good player. But just before you attack the Coyotes and say, oh, look, they don't turn a profit, just make sure that you are getting everything fully out there, okay? Let's make sure that we...
is what they're doing. Because they signed these stupid contracts. And you know what? That reminds me. You know what? Let's just go over to the side for a second on something I think you're actually really going to like when I start talking. So, after Toronto lost Game 7, all right, let's just go off to the side. When Toronto lost Game 7, this mad lad you're seeing on screen, shot me a text saying, do you want to start a rumor with no source that Austin Matthews is going to Arizona because of that? All right. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. So I made the video. It got me a bunch of views. Thank you guys very much. A handful of new subscribers as well. But I just thought nothing of it. I just kept posting a bunch of people's like photoshops of Austin Matthews. We were just literally just having a good time joking around. Yeah. Now, I did watch the full clip. Or I watched, not just the clip, I watched like 20 or 30 minutes of this god-awful Steve Dangle podcast because Chris Johnston was on there. And one of the co-hosts mentioned someone else that said like 3 years ago, Austin Matthews going to Arizona. But the fact that when Johnston said he is like Matthews is not going to play at Arizona State University, which I also memed on, like breaking news: 68-goal NHL scorer is not going to be playing for a university in 2 years. But so the fact that as soon as that happened, and I love to death my mutuals on Twitter that were kind of joking around back and forth. The fact that there are so many Toronto fans that were tweeting, you see, he's not going to Arizona, suspiciously within a week of these two idiots, the two brainlets you were looking at on screen right now, throwing that rumor out there, and then me with nothing else to do on my breaks at work, but just post these stupid memes. Someone felt the need to comment, and then dozens of people felt the need to be like, see, he's not going anywhere. That's a win. We won. This is a success. I'll
let you in a little secret. That's what all the Islanders were saying before John Tavares went to Toronto.
And they were just so mad because they got assets for you.
just let you in a little secret there. I know you guys have short-term memory problems, but you guys kind of did it to somebody already. Also, has anybody asked Austin Matthews?
Allegedly, Chris Johnston. Just to throw that in there.
Oh,
but
Chris Johnston.
To my knowledge, no one else has. But the only thing is, he never said he asked Matthews himself. What he said was he's not going to ASU, and they kind of like laughed about it. He's like, he's not going to Arizona. He's not going to play in ASU, and just that doesn't say he's not going to Arizona. Like per his words, that just he's a very responsible, very consistent source. But to me, as one of the two people that started the rumor, why would I stop now? He's totally going to Arizona.
Why would he only sign a contract that would get him to UFA? Just let's put on our thinking caps here. If he wanted to be a Leaf forever, wouldn't he sign an 8-year contract? Why didn't he sign an 8-year contract? Well, he wanted to maximize his profits. His profits of being, what, a top 5 highest paid players in the league?
Who has the cap space for that?
And
the thing is, again, you can't say, "Oh, the Coyotes can't." Like, the Coyotes have no money because you don't cut a $1.3 million check within 24 hours of being publicly told you have a bill due if you have no money. Like, you'd be making excuses like a week or two trying to figure it out.
I do believe so we're just gonna run back down the rabbit hole again because we love doing that on this podcast. Let's quickly go over the ownership blunders with money. First one, wasn't paying. He was late paying players for their
per diems when they were in the bubble.
Per diems, yes. That one, remember, this was in the midst of John Chaika leaving. That one, I could believe either he was probably short on cash because, remember, all of his businesses were shut down at the time because of COVID. Remember, this ownership, he has billions of dollars in assets. That's not money. He doesn't have billions of dollars in cash. All right? When your cash flow is cut straight off, it's kind of hard to like write a check instantaneously. So I could understand maybe he was short on cash, or maybe, like they said, he didn't have somebody in place to write those checks. John Chaika had just left right before that bubble.
So it's
makes sense. There is a possibility there.
That one's believable.
That one's believable. All right. The second money problem was with Glendale. Let's not kid ourselves. That was very calculated. I believe it. I'm so as much as they want to say that was a business holdout to see what they can circle back around to actually get a reasonable contract for 4, maybe 5 years to get their new building built.
It's just leverage. That's it. It was poorly thought out because they're messing with the tax man, but it was leverage.
Yeah. Yes. All right. I think the repeating itself has gone on long enough. Do we want to get back to the hit piece? Is there anything else that we have left on this hit piece?
Oh, no, I just use the rest of the hit piece as an excuse to pop off onto the side and give actual useful information and a couple of informed jabs because literally, again, you can cut this part if you want. The whole alter the ice things is if ASU decided they wanted to have a giant sex toy at center ice, the Coyotes couldn't alter it. I don't see why they would, but the Coyotes wouldn't be allowed to alter it. All right, it's because it's ASU's ice. If they wanted that there, they could throw it on there. There is no further story there, and just saying the Coyotes cannot alter ASU's logo because if they tried to digitally cover up ASU, if you're gonna host an NHL team, you're getting more eyes. You're telling me you wouldn't want your logo right there prominent for more that's free advertising. It's logical. I'm not gonna sit here and even entertain the idea that they would be okay with having that covered up, and not being allowed to do that, not being allowed to get rid of the big sex toy at center ice, does not mean the Coyotes cannot have their own sex toy at center ice.
Yep. What a great analogy. I love that your mind just immediately goes to sex.
Degeneracy.
You pervert, you.
You know what? Speaking of perversion, let's talk about Spicy Dill.
He definitely makes me a pervert watching him play.
Oh my God.
All right, we're getting awkward because he's only 19. He's playing at Junior League. Let's cut this one down. Anyways, Dillon Gunther, we picked him up last year's draft for Connor Garland and Oliver Ekman-Larsson. That's pretty much what the trade was. The other pieces were cap dumps so that, I don't know, IDK, LOL. Apparently Vancouver wanted one gently used Oliver Ekman-Larsson to take on for the rest of Infinity, and we took on 1-year contracts.
And we got King Louie. We got King Louie.
We got 1-year King Louie, who may make a return, matter of fact. I think I
really
can see
hope
it.
he does. I really hope he does.
Yeah, he played all right in the bottom 6. But anyways, Dillon Gunther, this is the kid that we traded essentially Connor Garland for. If you want to call it a 1-for-1, that's pretty much what it was. Dillon Gunther has currently scored in every single game of the WHL playoffs. They swept their first two opponents, I believe it was. They are now on to the third round, and he, in the first game, got 2 goals and an assist. Holy crap. This kid has been absolutely trucking the junior league.
It's been awesome. I've been watching highlights because, I was paying more attention to the Suns, and when they disappointed me, I just kind of stopped caring for at least a week or so. I needed some time to readjust and reevaluate some things and get back on the Coyotes train. That's where I'm at. But getting to see almost every single day, there's more Dillon Guenther highlights. There's more, oh, look what Gunther's doing. I'm going to say this right now, as someone who Connor Garland was my favorite player on the team. He's so far, if we just get rid of Louis Eriksson as a meme, one of only 2 of my favorite, actual number 1 favorite players on this team throughout the 15 years I've been watching. I'm okay with the trade now. I'm fully moved on because just how great Dillon Guenther's been. They've been able to, from what I can tell, partially move him over to center. He's got some experience at center throughout the season, which tells me you have a little more flexibility there. And even if we get Slavkovsky in the draft, you can have a line potentially of Michelli, Gunther, and Slavkovsky. And I in no way, shape, or form can complain about that. And if you get Cooley, Michelli, Cooley, and then Gunther on the right wing, you can even throw Keller there if you're feeling frosty. If you're feeling a little chippy there, you can throw Keller out there. And
it's hard
the goals that I can imagine.
Hard to take away Keller and Schmaltz, though, from each other, man. They have built up some insane chemistry. I mean, it is what it is, but Nick Boyd? No, what's
Travis
his name?
Boyd.
Travis Boyd. I don't know why I was thinking Nick Boyd. Travis Boyd, I don't think he should be there, but it is what it is. It works well. He does the defensive, responsibilities while the 2 wingers cheat. So, whatever works, Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome. And another thing about Dillon Guenther is that he tied his franchise for most goals in a single season at, I believe it was 45. So he tied that record for the Edmonton Oil Kings. And yeah, the only worry I have is when you look at that shot, that is an NHL shot. The way he can pull the tuck it in and then shoot. It's very, very similar to the way Matthews shoots. That tuck-in shoot shot. It is fast and it is accurate. The only thing that worries me, though, is can the kid maintain good habits? Because the problem is when you're in the junior leagues like this and you're tearing it up, you start to hot dog a little bit. You start to go for points. Maybe you're taking shots that are dumb, right? So he's got to be very, very careful about that stuff. I understand that he wants to get points and whatnot, but he still needs to not cheat that side of the game. Going and digging out pucks in the corner, being courageous in that sense. These are all things that you're going to have in the NHL if you want to be in the NHL. Ask Brendan Pierlini how that one worked out. Brendan Pierlini, fast kid, good shot. Could not stay in the NHL because he didn't have that fiery passion to go into the corners and do the dirty work. So, we shall see. We'll give it some time. But I'm liking what I'm seeing out of Dillon Guenther.
So, just so I'm comprehending what you just said. What you are saying is for the Arizona Coyotes to start the 2022-23 season, their second line is going to be Slavkovsky, Matthews, and Gunther. Just so I know we're on the same page here. That's what you're saying.
Of course. I can't wait. Okay, so let's say Matthews doesn't end up. He resigns or whatever. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I'll let you know a little tidbit here. Hockey Canada, Toronto fans. You think that really hurts my feelings? No. But it's funny to watch you guys squirm in your seats the second it's said. And if there's any shred of hope that happens and he actually does walk in free agency to go save the Coyotes, oh my God, is Toronto going to ablaze itself? It's going to light itself on fire. And that is going to be so hilarious to watch. Because let's remember, the last time that the Toronto Maple Leafs won the Stanley Cup was when TV was black and white. Let's not forget that one. When there was a 17% chance of winning the Stanley Cup because there was only 6 teams in the league. That was the last time. And you guys haven't made it out of the first round since 2004. You look at my franchise and you call it a joke? No, we are the dog that doesn't know any better, that keeps crapping on the floor, and you get mad at it, but you can't just beat it because it doesn't know any better. You caress the dog and say, yeah, you're dumb, but I love you. It's okay. That's my franchise. What do you think your franchise is, Toronto? You literally print monopoly money with your franchise, and you haven't done anything, literally anything, since 2004. My team was owned by the league, and we made it to the conference finals. You are the biggest embarrassment. Until you can actually get away from those demons, just remember your team is the biggest joke in the NHL.
The only thing I can add is every time someone screams about the Coyotes they need to be relocated, all I can say is, well, we're the ones with the team and you're the ones crying in the comment section. But also, just to kind of jump off your point on Austin Matthews, here's my personal feelings on him. When he was first coming up, he was coming through the Arizona system through, it was Pee Wee and everything, then he goes at 16, goes to play over in Europe, and he's owning grown men, former NHLers, guys that were like career AHLers, grown men that have been playing hockey forever, owning them. Yep. I'm cheering for the kid because I'm like, Arizona kid, Arizona product. I started liking him less and less around the time of the butt cheek incident and his response to it, because I'm like, you also got to remember, born in California, came here at, I think I was like 2 or 3 years old. He came here at a younger age. Grew up in Scottsdale. As a West Valley kid, I will always have some sort of feeling on people from Scottsdale because we see them as very snotty over here in the West Valley. So I'm seeing this guy get drunk and show off his butt cheeks to a security guard, and then after the fact, he's like, oh, it's a distraction or whatever, and he's like acting like he can't be asked to even care. So that made me think less of him. All right, I respect the hell out of his game, but me personally, I'm not his biggest fan as a character, personality, whatever. So I personally would rather him not be on the team. Just my personal feeling on it. It would be a great story, Arizona kid coming home, whatever. But me personally, just because the type of person I am. That being said, if he came here, I would laugh hysterically, and I would I would buy a Matthews jersey. Obviously for the memes, for the lols, but also because he's going to come here and save the franchise. But I would also just laugh because of how many people, while I was just trolling, told me I was an idiot. He's never leaving Toronto. He's going to be a Leaf forever. Poverty franchise. Top 5 player in the game is not going to play in a college arena. You're telling me right now, after... Let's just be frank about how it's a passionate market in Toronto. I will always give credit for that, complete credit. But let's be frank, after all these playoff meltdowns and not being able to get the job done, can you tell me the ability to play in a stress-free market while making top 5 money, because the franchise can afford to pay that because of the cap space and everything, you're telling me for a minute that isn't appealing? You're telling me being part of a young core coming up that could, by the time you are 30, should be appearing in the second, third, whatever round, because the rest of the core is already going to be there, and they're building it from the ground up, and what they're trying to do right now, if they can pull it off, build it properly to the point where you'll have a solid foundation top to bottom, not just 4 of the best scoring forwards in the league that take up 48% of your cap. and I think it was slightly higher before the cap went up. I think by $1 million, it's supposed to go up by $1 million, but still, taking up that high of your cap. And then where's the rest of it? Like, yeah, the defense got better this year, and a lot of Toronto fans that pay attention are like, yeah, saying that the team's defense is their biggest weakness is kind of overplayed. But the fact is, you still do not have the whole team to be a contender because you spend so much on 4 players. So you're telling me it's not at least appealing for him to go where he grew up, for him to play in a no stakes a situation. Literally, there are no expectations for this team, and be literally worshipped and cherished the way he is in Toronto times 10, but with no one complaining about him. You're telling me that's not going to go through your mind and be tempting?
And go
He's
live
what,
in your
24?
home. Yeah, and go live in your...
right?
I think so, yeah. And go live in your actual home that you resign in.
It's...
Okay.
Like I said, I understand the argument. I do. Again, it's a meme that we're throwing it around because we find it fun, and it's fun to speculate. We gotta have some entertainment. But honestly, I can get he wants to compete, wants to whatever. But as a 24-year-old guy, and you're guaranteed gonna make top 5 money, if you gave, we're different people, but I'll go ahead and let you in a little bit how I handle stress. Don't handle it very well. So if you gave me the opportunity to make more money and deal with less stress, and I just get to go do what I love, I'm at least thinking about it. It can never happen, and I'm perfectly content and okay with that. But you cannot tell me with a straight face that's not at least slightly appealing. Just putting it out there on the table. And I just don't get like how people can't just see that, laugh. We'll share a laugh. It's a funny may ha ha, and just move on. When people they get so mad because deep down they know it's a possibility because he signed to UFA.
Because they did it with John Tavares. They did it with John Tavares, and they're like, oh my God, this could actually happen. I have to crush this now on the internet because there's no way I want this to happen. It is insane to me that people can't use their big boy brains and think he potentially could do exactly what John Tavares did with us. And he might.
He could go to Florida. He could go to Tampa Bay. They can clear cap space. He can go to a legitimate top 2, top 3 contending team, and the Coyotes just take dead contracts to make it work. Get a lot of very good assets. I wouldn't mind a Spencer Knight and Anton Lundell personally. But that could also be a thing that's happening. It could also be a negotiating tactic to give Austin Matthews the captaincy and more control over roster construction. You might see guys like Marner or Nylander leave. Personally, gun to my head, Nylander's gone. Because you can't find a buyer for Marner that's going to be willing to take the full cap hit and give you full value. Nylander's probably the best bet if you want to free up cap space and get more depth. It's going to hurt the team offensively, but gun to my head, that's what I'm thinking Toronto's probably going to do. But what I'm saying is, while that's a possibility, he could stay there, he could go somewhere else. It's also equally a realistic possibility he goes to Arizona and people can't cope with it. So they're so mad about it. So you can't just, again, laugh.
Oh, look at those pit stains. Oh, God.
It's hockey.
It's hot.
It's
hockey.
Arizona. Let's have fun. Why can't we just have fun?
Mm-hmm.
Am I an idiot? Yes. All right? I am an idiot. But I'm an idiot having fun. And we just get to go have fun talking about hockey and possibilities. Calm down. Relax. Enjoy a laugh. And accept the crushing existential possibility that nothing happens when you die, and Austin Matthews is going to Arizona in a year.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right, well, I think we want to wrap it up there.
Yeah, we got about a good hour and only 3 AZ Sports Guy tangents.
Yep. I got my first one in. I feel like since starting this podcast up, I've had a couple of little spurts, but that's my anti. Is Toronto quickly becoming the most hated team in Arizona?
No, because if it has LA next to it, there's always going to be that stamped in. But if it's not to do with LA, right now it's got to be like the Mavericks, probably Toronto, probably maybe St. Louis because of how familiar we are with them and how we usually compete pretty well. And maybe Colorado. But I'm just talking about mostly hockey perspective.
Yeah. I didn't know the Mavericks had a team in hockey. Oh wait, that's just the sun's bleeding into this hockey podcast, isn't it?
I'm sorry. I'm the AZ Sports guy. Go cry now. Anyway, just to comfort you guys, I'm just gonna wait. I have a Keith Kachuk bobblehead with a stick right here. Wait a second.
For those of you listening, he's pulled out a Sparky bobblehead that he was able to find at
the Brass
what
Armadillo
a St. Vincent de
store.
Paul or okay. I was like,
not sponsored. Just you can get some good stuff there if you look.
But can be
if you hook me up with some free jerseys. They have. Watch out for the fake ones. I was able. I guess just for a little fun thing to end, when we were going through, my wife and I, the other day, I walk up and see a Coyotes jersey, you can immediately tell. But as soon as I saw it's a Coyotes jersey, I knew it was fake. It was too light in coloring. The paw looked disgusting. I just saw a sleeve, and I just glanced at it. I've gotten really good when it comes to hockey, especially Adidas jerseys, knowing a fake just by looking at it. And the worst part is, now that I have experience, I don't even think that's impressive because they are so terribly put together. They don't even try to color match. Like, watch out when you're looking for Adidas jerseys. If they have the button on them, that's not a dead giveaway that it's legit. Look for the fight strap. If the fight strap is an actually properly stitched fight strap, it's an authentic jersey, or it's such a good fake, it's probably not bad to pick up. If it has a little like dangle thing that you could, I've literally just
the rubber bands. Yeah, the rubber bands. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Just avoid it. That is because they're getting
that's the
pretty
Clayton
good
Keller
with
fight strap.
Adidas thing, or on the top. They're getting good with that, but they will never put in the time for. I don't know if it's chain stitch, but it's really nicely stitched for the fight strap. Look for that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I had to go on that tangent. That's how my brain works. I get reminded. I'm going to shut up now. I'm just going to.
Have you ever seen, there's I don't know if there's highlights, but I remember seeing this. Sorry, I'm going on tangent after tangent. It's just the fight strap thing reminded me. God, I can't remember if it was on a game or whatever, but I just love watching Keller. The refs will come over and they'll button his fight strap because he likes to tuck his jersey in his pants. And I don't know why more guys don't do that. I love the look. It reminds me of, Eric Comrie used to do it for the Coyotes. I love that look of the jersey tuck. And I just remember, like, watching the broadcast and, like, I think it was a linesman or a ref, comes over and, like, literally grabs Keller by his pants and buttons his fight strap for him. And Keller's like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, I see you. And the guy just runs up and, like, buttons his pants. It just looked really funny. It's like, whoa, you're cutting in my personal space, but that's what the refs are there for, to make sure that you're following the rules.
Let's be honest here. He was just investigating if Clayton Keller was wearing a Lululemon.
True. All right, well, on that note, I think it's safe to say we can call this one a wrap. Episode 9 in the bag. We are about to hit double digits
every week.
Every week.
Can't stop us. They want to. They
can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop, boys.
All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to give us a like, a follow, subscription on whatever platform you are listening to us on. That is the Desert Moon Hockey Podcast, and you can find us on whatever you like to listen. And I think episode 9 is in the bag. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you later.